Hey, shout out to everybody who came out today. Welcome to Khaliis Take. If it's your first time, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can get the newest content and you can get the bonus videos put out on weekends. We put out content every day, so you won't miss any content here. So now, let's go ahead and just jump right into this. You know, my question is, can Kawhi lead the Clippers tonight and get a game one victory over the Utah Jazz? It's going to be a tough task. I look at this team, Utah, the number one seeded team for a reason. You don't win the amount of games they've won and be a garbage team. You don't survive this long all the way through a full season, even though it was 72 games. It was cut a little short. You don't survive this long being the number one seed by accident. They didn't win it by default. They were the number one seed, and that's the way you have to look at it. Now, my personal opinion, I never really been a huge Utah fan ever growing up. Never really, to be honest, I never been a fan at all. I never really took to them. I never really liked them, even back in the days with, was it Karl Malone, John Stockton, Jeff Hornacek, all them. Some of you may not even remember them, but like I said, I've never been a big fan of theirs. I never respected them as a team, as an organization, because, they always had good players, but I never really gave them the respect as in like they're a team that can win it all. To me, they've always been a good enough team to make it to the playoffs and do certain things and stuff like that, get to the second round, third round, even made the finals, back then. But I never really looked at them as one of those dominant teams, to me. And even when I look at them now, in, today's time, they just don't look like a dominant team to me. A lot of people, will say, Rudy Gobert, Donovan Mitchell. And like I said, Donovan Mitchell is, solidified. He's a star player in this league, and I don't take nothing from him, but I just don't think that some of those players can get you over the hump. I mean, like when I think of Joe Ingles, I think he's a really good foreign player. Bogdanovich, I think he's pretty good, but I think he's a little bit above average. And these are not, and there's no knock against them. It's just that some of the players they have, I really just don't respect like that. Now, the one player I do respect on there, I've said multiple times, Jordan Clarkson. That dude is legit. You know what I'm saying? He is. Jordan Clarkson is everything that you want in a six-man. Matter of fact, Jordan Clarkson could be starting for 90% of the teams in the league. No doubt about it. Jordan Clarkson is really that good. And I give Jordan Clarkson a lot of credit. I've seen him come off the bench a couple times this season with a couple 30, 40-point games. So that lets me know he's a serious, sixth man of the year. You know what I'm saying? He's definitely worthy of that. And, that's good for him. But at the same time, when I look at the Clippers, I feel like the Clippers match up with this team really good because I think, with Kawhi Leonard and PG, if both of them play the way they're supposed to and just get a little bit of help from, maybe one or two of the starters in the starting lineup and get contribution from the bench, I just feel like Utah might not really have too much of a chance in this series if the Clippers play to their potential. Because honestly, when you look at the talent on both teams, the Clippers still got more talent than the Utah Jazz. And Donovan Mitchell is a great player, but I've seen a lot of games where Donovan Mitchell would look like a superstar, and then I've seen some games where he looked a little bit above average. And this is when he was healthy. This is not like the last, this is not like, I'm not looking at the last series with them versus the Memphis Grizzlies. I mean, I've seen it during the regular season, and I know you can't count every game. I know that, but at the same time, I just think that I'm not sure. I don't think Donovan Mitchell's at that level of a Kawhi Leonard, of a player of that caliber. I think he's on a level above, like where Luka is at, and Luka is a great player. We all saw how great he was in this first round that just passed, but at the same time, it's things Luka has to learn, also. He's a second, third year player in the league. It's things he still has to learn as a player to get over the hump. It's the little things, you know what I'm saying? I think Donovan Mitchell's in that same category. Donovan Mitchell can score. He's slithery, he gets to the paint, at will, but at the same time, like, there's just little things you have to know. Like you have to know how to conserve your energy in a 7 game series. You have to know exactly when to do certain things. You have to limit your turnovers. You have to look at all those things when you're playing in a 7 game series. And the older players know these things. The older players already have been through the grind, the trenches of what they need to do or how they need to approach a 7 game series because they've been in many of them before. And so is Paul George. He's been in many of them, of course. Kawhi Leonard, no doubt, he's been in finals before. So he's definitely been in many 7 game series. And, he's been in the playoffs a lot in his career. So there's things that players like, Kawhi and PG knows that players like, Donovan Mitchell and maybe even Jordan Clarkson don't know. You see what I'm saying? So it's the little things that can get them by. Now, we'll give Utah this. Like I said, they do have Rudy Gobert in the paint. And if they played zone against the Clippers would really have to make some shots. They really have to knock down some mid-ranges, some really big shots. And it really would be tough for the Clippers because, like I said, Rudy Gobert is not Boban on the Mavericks. Rudy Gobert is tougher, stronger, and he is more of a dominant shot blocker in the paint. So it's going to be a tough matchup. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not going to say it's going to be easy at all, but I do think Kawhi can help lead the Clippers in game 1. I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't, win game 1. But at the same time, I do believe that they can win game 1 because, like I said, I think Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers just have overwhelming talent. And when they put it together and play together as one unit, like we saw in the last series against Dallas, especially game 6 and game 7, they could really be a problem for a lot of teams because you saw a team in the first round who showed resilience when they were down 0-2 and when they were down 3-2. And you saw a team come together unlike you've seen a lot of teams do before in the playoffs or even this year in the playoffs. It showed a lot of resiliency. It showed a lot of grit. It showed a lot of integrity and pride amongst each other and, how they want to approach the game. It showed a lot of that, and that really was a battle-tested moment for the Clippers. And I personally think that the Mavericks were the toughest matchup for the Clippers. I don't really think no one else is, I really don't think nobody else, in the West right now is really a comparable opponent to the Clippers because I feel like everybody else in the playoffs right now, especially on the West end of things, I feel like they match up well against everybody else. Like I said, I feel like Utah is a good team, but I feel like if the Clippers really play the way they're supposed to, I feel like the Clippers could beat them in 5. Now, I picked the game in 6 games. But if the Clippers play like they're supposed to, I believe they could beat them in 5. But at the same time, we have to see how that goes. We have to see, exactly how that pans out for them. But talent-wise and just the fact that the Clippers have a better superstar in Kawhi Leonard rather than Donovan Mitchell, I definitely think the Clippers are coming out of this series. But like I said, nothing surprised me in the NBA, but at the same time, I think Utah is going to give them everything they can handle. But I think and in saying that, I think all the games are going to be close. I don't think there's going to be many blowouts in this series. I just really can't see it because one team is very, very defensive minded, and the other team is a defensive minded team when they decide to lock in, which is the Clippers. And the Clippers have super offense. They have a great offense. They have so much talent everywhere. Reggie Jackson can knock down some threes. Marcus Morris, you got Terrence Mann coming off the bench. I mean, Rondo, they still got Boogie Cousins. Then they got, Luke Kennard. They have a lot of pieces that, people are going to have to really, really, really pay attention to. And I feel like, what they have and, what they can present going against Utah is really going to be a problem for them. And it's going to be a problem for anybody else in the West that they face, pending if the Clippers make it that far. But it's just, when you look at this matchup here, to me, the best thing Utah can do is hope Donovan Mitchell have average 30 plus points this whole series. Because if he's not averaging 30 plus points pretty much the whole series, I don't think they have a chance at all against the Clippers. I don't, because I just don't see anybody that can stop Kawhi Leonard, really. I really don't see anybody that can stop Paul George. I don't know. Like I said, I respect Mike Conley and the players they have. A couple players, I respect the fact that, I should say this, I respect the fact that they are the number 1 seed, but some of the other players that they have on the team, I just don't know if they're actually good enough to contend with the Clippers. Now I will say, if Jordan Clarkson comes out with a couple 30-point games off the bench, then, the series will get a lot more interesting then. But, I think the Clippers, when they decide to lock down and neutralize some of the things that Utah does and, watch them, especially after this game 1, fill them out a little bit and see, how their approach is, I think the Clippers counteract or counterpunch will be too devastating for the Jazz in the long run. But focusing on tonight's game 1 specifically, like I said, I think the Clippers can definitely take game 1. I think Kawhi can definitely lead the Clippers to a game 1 victory versus the Utah Jazz. Like I said, we'll see how it goes in this game, and like I said, I'll leave my comments, and we'll talk after the game. I'll also do a video after the game just to see how the game pans out and everything. So please be tuned in for that later on tonight after the game comes on. But right now I'm sticking with the Clippers in game 1. If I had to pick a score, I'm gonna go 114 to 108, Clippers. So that's my pick for this game tonight, game 1. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you think I'm right, or let me know what your pick is, or who you think is going to win. Let me know your take on it. I appreciate your take as always. And Cali out.